Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Cocos Critiques. We are back in the studio here, and I've watched another lovely movie. I guess last time I technically did not watch a movie, it was a series, but this time I watched a movie that kind of surprised me. It kind of just appeared all of a sudden, Oscar nominated. So I actually watched Minari. So if you haven't heard of Minari, it is kind of like, I guess, an indie film. It's an A24 film, so there's a chance you might not have heard of it. But Minari is a prequel to The Walking Dead, actually. And so it's very surprising how different this movie is. So this movie shows Glenn, and he has just moved to Arkansas. It gets a little confusing how it all blends in, and I'll get to that in just one second. But yeah, this movie is all about Glenn's backstory, which is really cool because we haven't really seen a lot of what life was like before the walkers came. Obviously, Rick, was in the hospital, but besides that, we don't see too much of what it was like. So it's very interesting being able to see kind of Glenn's life before the apocalypse started. So in this, we see Glenn, like I said, he moves to Arkansas. He's got this little house, and it's on a farm. He wants to start a farm, basically, which the farm aspect, I just want to dive into this real quick, and we'll go into more detail in a little bit, but the farm is really neat. I think you can see a lot of parallels to Herschel's farm there, He's working, he's growing, it's with his family, and so you can see these parallels, which really strikes a chord because, in a way, Glenn found his new family in Herschel's farm. So I think that's really neat that the way they kind of like brought that in. And I think it speaks a lot to Glenn's character, really, he's this hardworking guy, and we've known Glenn, we've always, Glenn was one of the favorites. Personally, I stopped watching after Glenn passed away on the show, so, you can see the kind of weight that Glenn's character holds. So learning a lot more about him was very interesting. So yeah, Glenn moves to this farm in Arkansas. He has his family. He has his wife, who I believe her name is Monica, and then his son David and his daughter Anne, and eventually their grandma comes to live with them. So there's a really unique thing here. They also they call him, they don't call him Glenn. I don't know, they have like some nickname or something for him, but for some reason, we'll refer to him as Glenn because that's what we know him from previously. I guess they were trying to kind of give off like that Glenn was a completely different person before the apocalypse. So like, he goes by a different name, he has this different family, all sorts of new stuff. So this movie, the roots of it really come down to Glenn struggling to build up this farm while also holding that connection with his family. They're in rural Arkansas. This is hard for them. They've just moved there, So it's very difficult. But it really speaks to Glenn's strength as a survivor because the family, it's all about them clinging on, working as hard as they can to rise up in life, and it's really amazing. A couple of things. This movie was beautiful. I mean, it was soft paced. It was like tender and emotional. It didn't require violence to keep it going, which again, like I was saying before, it is so different than the Walking Dead series. So it's very odd to me. It almost seems like it isn't actually related to the Walking Dead, but I mean, Glenn is in it, so it just makes sense for it to be. But it's crazy to me, this difference in them, because you have the Walking Dead, there's fighting, there's walkers, oh, what's the group gonna do for food, all of this stuff, and then you just see this peaceful little farm where, you know, the only struggles are how much are they going to produce and where are they selling to. And so it's really amazing. You see this great family dynamic. Some of the amazing characters, David, the son of Glenn, him and the grandma had a beautiful relationship. You know, they would play cards and stuff, and they would drink. One of the best parts is their mountain water, which you may know as Mountain Dew, but they called it mountain water, and they were talking about how healthy it was, and it was just very funny. They really do just have a beautiful relationship with each other, and you know, especially David and the grandma, they're kind of at odds the whole time. You know, they never fully agree with each other, but they're still, you see them kind of unite as a family here. And that, I think, is really amazing about this movie, is that you just see a great family. You know, there's lots of kooky side characters. They've got their neighbor Paul, and he, you know, he's just a little kooky guy, and he doesn't really do too much. He helps around the farm, and he just has some great lines. You know, he helps them out wherever possible because he really likes them. And then they also go to church at some point, and they meet a lot of these other people, and so you can see kind of their cultures competing there, and it's just very sweet to see. Now, as far as rating this movie, I mean, it's going to be high. It was really an emotional experience. You do have to read subtitles, but I think, you know, subtitles are kind of in vogue now, you know? You got to get down with subtitles, because a lot of films have some really great things that you're not seeing if you don't watch subtitles. You know, obviously the most noteworthy, Parasite from last year, which swept the Oscars, and it kind of showed this world of hey, watch these other movies, you know? Don't just watch movies that are primarily English, you know? Watch some that are Korean, and all this other stuff, and it really just speaks to that. This movie especially continues that trend, because it's a beautiful movie. So if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to give this movie like a 9.3. I mean, it really does just stun you. That's what it comes down to, is it stuns you with its beauty, and it's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's exactly what you want to see in the year of 2021, where everything's going so crazy, but you know, pandemic-wise, we're hopefully kind of coasting down a little bit. Vaccines are getting out there, and so you're hoping that this peace can come, and this is a great movie to just take you out of reality and just experience as is. So yeah, I mean, amazing movie. The only thing that I wish that they would have done a little bit more is kind of resolved in terms of, you know, how this is gonna lead in. Like, where does this take place on the Walking Dead timeline? Like, if at the end or something, we see walking through the fields of the farm, you know, a walker appears. I think that would be really just tying this movie together with the Walking Dead universe. Because, you know, there's so many big things. I believe there's like a Rick movie coming out. I don't know. I didn't really keep up after Glenn passed away. But it was good to see his character again. And, you know, I know they're doing a lot of movies and stuff, so it would have been cool to see this tie in just a little bit more instead of just kind of Easter egg wise. But overall, it's a really enjoyable movie. Fun for the whole family, really. And, you know, I strongly recommend it. Whether or not you're a fan of The Walking Dead, I think you'll really like Minari. It's available for rent on, you know, basically anywhere you can rent movies. I believe it's in some theaters, but it's a pretty limited release, so you might have to go searching a little bit. But, yeah, you know, that's pretty much all I have to say. Great job on this. It was just really cool to see Glenn back in action. So if you like this video, go ahead and drop that like. If you didn't like this video, it's okay to drop that dislike, but if you didn't like it, let me know why. If you're like, Coleman, stop gushing over Glenn so much, you know, there's more to this movie, and there is, and I want to make that clear. But what makes it so cool is that Glenn is in it, and it ties into this universe that we've seen so little of, you know? So it was very cool to see that. But yes, there is so much more to this movie that you want to see other than just Glenn. So let me know in the comments so I can make these better for you. If you want to be notified of whenever I post, whatever it is, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified first, be there, quick on the dot, make sure you ring that little dinger bell. Bong! Just like that. And YouTube will send you a post of whatever I post, whatever it is. You'll be the first ones to hear about it. You can get there right away. This series is released bi-weekly, so you might forget about it a little bit, so having those subscriptions really help. And in the description, you'll find links to the Cocos Critiques Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. So make sure you check those out. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!